Hi everyone, welcome to week 8. We're going to look at infinitives, review some old ones, learn some new ones, and this is in anticipation of next week when we learn indirect statement. All right, so review some infinitives, look at future active and perfect active infinitives. So here are your present active and passive infinitives. And if you remember, the present active infinitive is the second principal part. It's that RE form. So here you have infinitives for all the conjugations, as well as the irregular verbs, or certainly the most common irregular verbs. All right. In the right-hand column are the passive infinitives, the present passive infinitive. And remember that the present passive infinitive in general will change that E to an I. So audire becomes audire. All right, the exception is the third and third IO, where the whole ERE changes to an I. And that can be tricky just because that I is a fairly common ending. The present passive infinitive is not terribly common, so it's not sort of in the hierarchy of the I ending forms. So just keep an eye out for that. That can be a tricky form to pick up. So in general, again, present active infinitive RE, second principal part. All right, present passive infinitive RI, with the exception being the third and third IO. The infinitive, the active infinitive is translated to verb, right? And the passive infinitive is translated to be verb. All right, so there's to verb above and to be verb down below. Okay, so those are your present and passive. And here are some infinitives in action. So this is Marist College in Poughkeepsie, New York. I didn't know that until I saw the seal. All right, so here are your infinitives, orare et laborare. All right, so to pray and to work. Okay, orare et laborare, to pray and to work. And there's that present active infinitive, and you can hear the translation as well. All right, for you soccer fans out there, this is the seal, I guess the old seal logo, of Tottenham Hotspur, the English Premier League soccer team. And again, you can see your infinitives down here. All right, audere est facere. All right, audere est facere. And their new logo does not include the Latin motto, but they have English. One thing I'll point out is that this E in facere and this E in audere are slightly different. All right, audere is audeo, audere. All right, and facio is facio, facere. Okay, and remember with these ERE infinitives, there are 3 of them. There's second conjugation, there's third conjugation, and there's third IO. And a lot of books or a lot of texts might not use the long marks, and so then the way you tell them apart is to go to the first principal part. All right? And so second conjugation, the first principal part is going to be EO, as you can see in audeo. Third, the first principal part is just going to be O. And then third IO, the first principal part, of course, is going to be IO, as you can see in facio, facere. All right? So a nice illustration of what looks like the same word, but or the same ending, but technically 2 different endings with a long and a short E coming from of it all over the place. So as I was looking for this, I found various forms of the translation. To dare is to do. It looks like the upper right is the locker room, the bottom left is the stadium itself, and the bottom right, I assume, is either outside the stadium or somewhere in town, in the neighborhood. All right, so audere est facere, to dare is to do, and again, active infinitives there, and you can hear the 2 translations, the infinitive translation, different conjugations. All right, here is Wellesley College, an all-women's college outside of Boston, near where I live, or at least near to where I work. All right, I believe Hillary Clinton went to Wellesley, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so in Wellesley's motto, all right, you can see the infinitive there and the infinitive there. So non ministrari, sed ministrare. All right, so a nice little example because you have the same word, all right, in 2 different forms. So ministrari and ministrare. And this, of course, is the present passive infinitive, while this is the present active infinitive. All right. So not to be taught, not to be ministered, right? But to teach. All right. So not to be taught, but to teach. So the idea is, of course, that like the ultimate goal of college is to go out and to help others. All right. Right. And so you can see in the present passive infinitive, the RI ending, ministrari, right, to be taught. And in the present active infinitive, the RE ending, to teach. All right. And then this is the motto of the state of North Carolina. And you can see, sorry about that, wrong color. You can see ESSA there and Wideri here. It is also the motto of Appalachian State University, which happens to be in North Carolina. You can see that here. It's a relatively common motto, so there are plenty of other places that have it as their motto. Quam means than or rather than. All right, so to be, esse, it's an irregular verb, sum esse, the infinitive sum esse. So to be rather than to appear, all right, wideri, and you can see again that E-R-I, that R-I, that's the passive infinitive of video widere, video meaning to see, but oftentimes when video is used in the passive, in any form, infinitive or otherwise, it certainly can mean the strict passive meaning, to be seen, but it can also mean to seem, with an M, or to appear, which obviously is similar to seem. So in this case, for this motto, it is that I have to appear, right? To be rather than to appear. So you're being genuine, right? Esse, rather than sort of being something you're not or trying to portray yourself as something you're not, wideri. All right? So to be rather than to appear. To be seen, literally. All right. And if there are any Stephen Colbert fans out there, before he had a late-night talk show, you may or may not know he was on the Comedy Channel with sort of a, not quite a talk show, but kind of a news format show where he played an exaggerated version of himself that was very egocentric, all of those things. And he has a version of that motto on his fireplace, or he had. This is the set of the show. So, wideri quam esse, right? So he just reverses the infinitives, and so reverses the meanings. To appear rather than to be. And that very much fits the persona of the character that he played, or the version of himself that he played, who was very superficial and somewhat artificial. And so it made sense that reversed motto would work for him. All right, so these are perfect infinitives, active and passive. We're only dealing with the active this chapter, but you get a little heads up on the passive. The formula for the perfect active is the third principal part, all right, minus the I, and that gives you the perfect stem. All right, so anytime you take the I off the third principal part, you get the perfect stem, and then the perfect stem plus ISSE. So isse, I-S-S-E, is the ending for the perfect active infinitive. And you can see it there. All right down the line. You're welcome to think about it as just the third principal part plus SSE, which obviously gets you to the same spot. So either way, whatever is easier for you all. But isse is the ending for the perfect active infinitive. It is translated to have verbed. It will be used as a straight infinitive. You know, I wanted to have finished by the end of the day. You know, there's your literal perfect active infinitive. But when we get to indirect statement next week, we'll find that it functions a little bit different in translation in indirect statement. And don't worry about factum esse down here not following the pattern. It's a little bit of a funky verb. And as with all perfect forms, and you learn this with the indicative, all verbs, no matter what, form their perfect forms the same way, right? Which is dropping that I, getting the perfect stem, and then adding the endings, or in this case, just the one ending. So doesn't matter what conjugation, doesn't matter irregular or not, all verbs will use that perfect stem and then add ISSE for the perfect active infinitive. All right, and here is the future active infinitive. And again, we're not going to worry about the future passive infinitive. The reason it's in parentheses is that there is some debate about whether or not it actually exists. We are not going to worry about that debate. So future active infinitive uses the fourth principal part, all right? And it uses the infix, UR, and what an infix is something that goes in the middle. You might know that prefix goes at the beginning, a suffix goes at the end, and an infix goes in the middle. So if you look at the examples up here, you can see doctum, positum, tum, right? And then you have the UR in between. Okay, so that UR is what distinguishes the future active infinitive and also the future active participle. Really, the future active infinitive is just the future active participle plus esse. All right, but what distinguishes it from the perfect passive participle, which of course is the fourth principal part. Okay, as a side note, there are some verbs like sum esse that have their fourth principal part with the UR in it already. Sum esse fui futurus. If that is the case, what that means is that that verb does not have any passive forms whatsoever, and the fourth principal part reverts then to the future active participle. All right, so future active participle plus esse. Remember that the future active participle is the fourth principal part with that infix UR. All right, so portatorum esse, doctorum esse, positorum esse, etc. Again, the future active infinitive is translated to be about to verb. Now we're getting a little cumbersome in terms of straight translations. You won't find too many future active infinitives translated like infinitives. They'll be more so used with indirect statement, which again we'll learn next week. But if you want a translation just to associate with it, to be about to verb. All right. So at the top, and this is from your textbook, is just sort of a collection, a summation of all the formations and translations of all of the infinitives. All right. And then exercise 151 there. So writing principal parts and giving all the infinitive forms, not the future passive, for those verbs. And writing the principal parts is useful because it makes sure that you know what principal parts each verb has, and then it forces you to use the correct one for the infinitive, whatever infinitive it's going to be. All right, so let's just do sparrow, or I'll do sparrow here. Sorry about that. All right, so sparrow, sparare, sparawi, sparatus, and then that will become sparare, present active, sparari, present passive, sparawisse, perfect active, sparatus, well, it should be sparatum, esse. All right, we didn't do the perfect passive, but it's there. And then I imagine it's to the right, but I'm going to write it to the side just for a little more space. Or at the bottom, I should say sparatorum esse, future active. All right, so that'll give you some good practice in the infinitive forms. All right, so here is a text, Latin text with some infinitive forms. So you've got 2 present active infinitives and 2 present passive infinitives. All right, so I'll do one, and then you can do the other. So tolere is a present active, and tueri is a present passive. All right, so see if you can find the other 2 infinitives, 1 present active and 1 present passive. All right, and I will, let me just check something real quick before I say this. Just that. You know what? Actually, there are 3 present passives. Oh, no, it does say that. My fault. I was transferring the 2. Sorry, so 2 more present passive infinitives. All right, my fault. All right, here's another infinitive form of text. So 3 infinitives up there. All right, and then identify their tense and voice. All right, I will do one / give you a hint. Temptase. All right, oh, sorry. Don't want to use the highlighter there. My fault. Temptase is really temptawisse. All right, sometimes the VI can contract, and that's where the temptase comes from. But temptase is really temptawisse. So with that clue, hopefully that is a clue. All right, identify the 3 infinitives and give their tenses and voices. All right, so let's take a look at summatives this week. So here's reading. So we're identifying the infinitive, and then you're going to write it down plus its tense and voice. All right, so I'll do 1 or 2. So here's timere, and that is going to be present active. All right, here is tradidisse, and that is going to be perfect active. All right, and then you can do the rest on your own. And here is the writing. All right, so principal parts, give all the infinitive forms. So same thing that we did in the practice exercise. All right, in fact, it is the same thing, so you've got one done. All right, I'll add another one. So I'll do dico. So dico, dicere, dixi, dictus. All right, and then I'll do the infinitives down below. So dicere. Now dici, he, because it's a third conjugation verb. And remember that present passive, the whole ERE gets replaced by the I. All right, dixisse. All right, dictum esse. And then I think I can fit it up here. Dictorum esse. All right. All right, so that is it for this week. Please be in touch if you have any questions, and I will be back next week. Thanks.